Okay, Wednesday, 10th of June, 2026. So Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. HODL. HODL Bitcoin until when? Well, until this. Basically, hyper-Bitcoinization. When hyper-Bitcoinization comes along, you'd have no reason to exchange or trade your Bitcoin for any other financial asset. You could just transact natively in Bitcoin. So a lot of people talk about HODL Bitcoin, HODL, self-custody and all the rest. Great, important. A good resilience, a good hedge against shenanigans that happen in the world. Very nice. Rehypothecation, etc. Very good, very important to do these things. Very important to understand the risk factor. But then what? You have Bitcoin, you buy it, you wait a year, 2, 3, 5, 10, very nice, okay. And then your gains, so to speak, your gains go up in price. You buy it at 1,000, then suddenly it's $100,000, very nice. Okay, firstly, look at things through the lens of purchasing power, not through the lens of dollars and dollar price. When you start valuing and pricing things in Bitcoin and Satoshis, life gets cheaper, objectively, financially, etc., cheaper. So then you say, right, I have all this Bitcoin, what do I do with it? Do I sell it and trade it for STRC? Do I lend against it, use it as collateral, blah, 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 things like that? Yes, no, maybe, subjective choice, decisions, very nice. Usual disclaimers, very nice, okay. But the longer term destination, and the maths and game theory all points to this, is hyper-Bitcoinization, where Bitcoin is, everything is priced in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is backing everything else. Everything is built around Bitcoin, and you're using Bitcoin whether you realize it or not, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you like Bitcoin or not, things like that. When hyper-Bitcoinization comes along, there won't be the question of should I exchange 100,000 Satoshis for STRC or things like that. No, it'll just be, I want X or Y or Z, I'll go to a shop and I can just buy things with Bitcoin natively, or via an app or something like that, in some fashion. There'll just be ways to transact and use Bitcoin and receive Bitcoin as change, things like that. There'll just be ways to do it. So really, you could say we're hodling, the plebs are hodling until how you imagine the world to be through a Bitcoin lens, how reality catches up to your imagination and your conviction, meaning you've hodled, and now the rest of the world is a hodler with you as well. Everyone has their own account, whether they know it or not, in Bitcoin, and they're using Bitcoin whether they know it or not. So we're hodling until hyper-Bitcoinization is, it just is everywhere. In the same way, we could say that the internal combustion engine is everywhere. People use it in different ways: cars, lorries, buses, motorcycles, etc. HTTPS protocol on the computer is everywhere, whether you realize it or not, whether you like it or not. Every single computer that uses internet has the HTTPS protocol for security and for infrastructure. So really we're hodling, the plebs more specifically, are hodling until the world changes. It's the long-term game as well. It's the long-term game really. And I say plebs because there's a very fundamental thing to understand with the market now, is that because the market size, the market cap, the market infrastructure, most plebs now, vast majority, can't affect the price. Don't do anything big or grand with regards to what's happening in the world, building STRC or whatever else. So the most simplest, if you're going to boil it down, the simplest action people can do now is just buy and hold Bitcoin, HODL. Buy and hold Bitcoin. Everything else is just different shades of noise. This or go here or do that or do this, and we'll just, as a fundamental principle, have you got more Satoshis at the end of the month than you did at the start of the month? If yes, good, you're on the right track. And then it raises the question, until when? Until hyper-Bitcoinization is everywhere, until you can transact easily and effortlessly with Bitcoin on Lightning, for example. Yes, because then that will just be your savings account. The asymmetrical position and knowledge you have today, meaning you know something that the vast majority of people don't know, is to have as much Bitcoin as possible today, so that in the future, 5, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, when it's ubiquitous, when it's everywhere, you have such a large position, so many Satoshis, that you can just afford things without having to worry about it. And you can go deeper to say, yes, we want a business and online income, etc., so as to acquire more Bitcoin passively. There's that magic word, passive income. By all means, yes. Build and create and do things, by all means. But then HODL until hyper-Bitcoinization is a material reality. Until then, we could be a little cynical to say everyone wants your Bitcoin. Everyone wants to pry out of your cold hands, your diamond hands actually, be more colloquial. Everyone wants to pry it out your hands in some fashion, using it as collateral, using it as yield, things like that, using it in some fact, or exchange it for the paper Bitcoin, the ETFs, things like that. HODL until hyper-Bitcoinization is a reality. When that's going to happen, how long's a piece of string? You could say, as a rule of thumb, assume 15 years from now, as a rule of thumb. So 2041, in that vicinity. Fair enough. I understand, 15 years, blah, 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 but that's the general idea, we could say. Is it going to be 2030? Too soon. 2035, 2036, generally, yeah. What's happening is that every single day that hyper-Bitcoinization is becoming more of a reality, and it is being built behind the scenes. SDRC is a prime example of this, the current hot topic of today, SDRC. Understand also that via the 200-week moving average, the Bitcoin network is growing by about $40 to $50 every day. The realized price is going up and up and up. So it's a patience game, really. Meaning, that chart right there, the 200-week moving average, is the game theory in action. It's the incentives in action. Everything is pushing. And that right there is a measure of, we could say, how close, we could say, or how close to hyper-Bitcoinization, or hyper-Bitcoinization's progress, its steady march, things like that. If you're going to point to a chart and point to a number, it's a 200-week moving average. Fair enough. But over time, as things are being built around Bitcoin, in Bitcoin, around Bitcoin, with Bitcoin, like SDRC, it is Bitcoin is slowly being integrated into the global economy, into every single thing behind the scenes. And again, the math points to this, the game theory points to this in terms of competition. The whole mantra of viewing Bitcoin like gunpowder, you adopt it or don't adopt it, over time you'll realize the distinct advantage, the asymmetry that Bitcoiners would have by having Bitcoin in the 2030s and 2040s and not having it into the future as well. You look at someone today who starts stacking sats versus over the course of the next 15 years versus someone who doesn't stack sats, the Bitcoin will have the upside because the fundamentals are completely different. So as more people increase awareness and understanding, it's that positive feedback loop, really, and I've talked about many times. As more people adopt Bitcoin and integrate it into their world, business, balance sheet, you name it, that's hyper-Bitcoinization right there. Welcome to the future. So you hodl until hyper-Bitcoinization comes along, and then you can just transact on the Bitcoin Lightning Network or Bitcoin timestamp natively, the native blockchain, depending on price and fees and speed, whatever else, stuff like that. That is when you hodl, because at that point you wouldn't need to exchange your Bitcoin for things, other financial instruments. You can just transact natively on it, and that's it. That is the future. It's happening every single day. We get closer and closer to that future. It's on its way. It's on its way. But otherwise, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Subscribe for more, and you will see me tomorrow.